So it's time to talk about all of the series that I have open. Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex, and today is the series episode. If you're new here, last year I did an episode completely identical to the one that we're going to do today, basically. It's when I talk about all the series that I have open. Okay. Here's the thing. Last year, it was so bad. I remember, I started making the list, and I'm like, it's not that bad. And then it just kept getting longer and longer and longer, and I realized how out of control, the list was, how many series I had open that, I either wasn't going to be able to finish or didn't want to finish. And so basically, I went through each one, and I decided, no, I'm not going to finish this series, or maybe I'll finish this, I was on the fence about it, or yes, I want to finish this. One of my goals last year and one of my goals this year is to close out a lot more of my series. Now, last year, I wanted to close out 4 of them. I closed out 1. Which, I'm very proud of myself that I at least closed out 1, but it really did not hit the goal mark, you know what I mean? And so this year, I really want to close out more. So today, we're going to go through all my open series, and I'm going to just kind of see how I feel about them. And I started more series this year. So the list got longer. Before we get into it, make sure you hit all the buttons down below so you know when I'm posting. I post every week, and all we do on this channel is talk about books. So if you like listening to people talk about books, here I am every week doing just that for you. Let me preface by saying I didn't mean for the list to get bigger. The opposite was supposed to happen. The list was supposed to get smaller, right? Okay, so last year when I made my series post, the list was at 28 open series. That's insane. Come on, right? That's too many. Too many considering a lot of them, I had no intention of finishing, right? So after making my series post, I removed 10 series from that list. So that took the number down to 18. That's still a little wild, right? But much better than 28. I cleared almost half the list, right? I took 10 off right at the beginning, saying I'm never going to finish these. So we need to just not have these around anymore. We need to not be keeping track of these. It's time to let these go. And so I did. And then when I made the list today, there's 21. 21. So I picked up more series over the year. I closed 1 and picked up more. This just felt so counterproductive. I made the list, and I was literally just so upset with myself because I was like, I thought we made some progress by taking 10 off the list last year. No. Anyways, let's talk about it. Okay, the first one on the list is the Handmaid's Tale series by Margaret Atwood. I'm just going to put the picture of the first book up for you in case you're interested. I'm not really going to get too into this series unless it's something I'm really passionate about. But everybody knows what Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood is about. There's 2 books in this series. Last year I said I was on the fence about finishing this series. I'm still on the fence, y'all. I'm still on the fence. There's a part of me that's just read it because it's a super short book and just get it over with, and then you'll know what happens. Because I am still sort of interested to see what happens because the first book kind of ended on a cliffhanger. But I still have the same opinion of this book that I did the first year I read it, in that there's a lot of other books that are better. I know there is a lot of other stories that are better to tell this specific story. And I think this story has been really inflated and made to be this sort of poster child for a lot of the issues that women are suffering through right now. And I don't really agree with that. So yeah, I think if I don't read it this year, I'm just going to move on with my life. So this is its last year for me to decide if I want to keep going. The next series is the Beartown series by Fredrik Backman. Y'all, I had every intention to read the winners last year. I really did. I've read the first 2 books. Okay, Fredrik Backman has a very certain style, okay? And his style is just very dense storytelling. And these two books, the Beartown and Us Against You, devastatingly sad. Devastatingly sad. Oh my gosh, I cried through both of them. You know, when I first picked up Beartown, I didn't know that it was part of a trilogy. I thought it was a standalone book. It ended like a standalone book. I didn't have any second thoughts about it until I saw that Us Against You was out, and I said I didn't know that there was going to be a sequel. And then I read Us Against You, and then here came the winners, and I said I didn't know there was going to be a sequel again. So the reason I couldn't read the winners last year was because emotionally I was in a terrible place like the entire year. The entire year, I don't think I was in a very emotionally, mentally stable place. And so I thought that reading the winners would probably be a little bit detrimental to my mental health. This is definitely getting finished. Is it getting finished in 24? I really hope so, but I don't know. Okay, the next series is the Sweet series by Maya Bank. I actually made progress on this last year. So I read book number 4. I did it on audiobook. The audiobook is awful. Don't read it. Don't do it like that. Just read the book. The audiobook was just horrifying. So yeah, I read 1 through 4. There's 6 in the series, so I definitely see this as a possibility to finish, but I was really looking forward to doing all of them on audiobook, and with book 4's audiobook just being so bad, I don't think I'm going to do it that way. And so that really kind of cuts in to my availability of whether or not I want to finish it. This is like BDSM type novel series. It was written in the early 2000s. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I really like it. Easy read. They're all kind of interconnected, but like I said, I read 1 through 3 a really long time ago, and I picked up 4 without any issues. So, do I see this getting finished this year? Hopefully. I don't know. I'll have to see if the next audiobook is terrible too. Okay. Next we have the Anna Pigeon series by Nevada Barr. I did not make any progress on this series. It's so long. There's 19 books. 19 books. Now, granted, I've read 6 of them already. So, I mean, like, I've already taken a big chunk out, right? But still, there's 19. There's still so many left. I don't know. I might be able to pick up one of these this year, but this is definitely not getting finished this year. I really like this series too. This is about a female, like, national park ranger. I think that's what she's called. And she solves crimes in national parks, which is like really cool. Like, if you like the traveling aspect and stuff, like, Nevada Barr does a really good job making these places just kind of like come alive and exciting. There's lots of like little life things that happen to Anna along the way, and like I like kind of following along. This is definitely one I could pick up and not have any issues. Like, I could pick up where I left off and probably not have any problems, but I just haven't read one in so long. Maybe I should try to like make it a goal to just read one this year. Okay, the next is the Sarah Armstrong series by Kathryn Casey. I had every intention of finishing this last year because there's only 2 books left. I've read 2 and there's 4. So there's only 2 left in this series. I had every intention of finishing it. And I just didn't. I just didn't. This is also a pretty good series. It is a serial killer thriller series, and each book is its own serial killer. And Sarah Armstrong is a female Texas Ranger. She's also like a single mom. There's just a whole vibe about it, you know? And both of the books that I read were really good. I read them a long time ago and I still think about them, so they're obviously pretty good for serial killer thrillers. I find it very interesting. I think if you like Bones, it kind of has that same vibe about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, will this get finished this year? I wanted to finish it last year and I just got like super distracted. So I don't know. I mean, I still definitely want to finish it, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, so this is a new one. I picked this one up this year. It's the Vicious Lost Boys series by Nikki St. Crowe. I did the first 2 books on audiobook, like bam, one right after another. I really like this series. It's really fun. This is a very dirty adult Peter Pan retelling. Okay, all your Peter Pan fantasies. And yeah, all grown up very sexily. Yeah, so there's 4 in this series and I've already read 2. I could definitely see me finishing this year because these books are so short and because the audiobooks are so good that they're easy. They're so easy. I love the audiobook. They do multiple narrators and it's just delicious. Okay, trust me on the audiobook, all right? I definitely see this getting finished this year. Definitely. So, the next one is the Ink and Chrome series by Lauren Dane. Even me just saying that, I'm just like, oh, this series. Okay, I read the first one, right? And it was fine. But that's it. It was fine. There's 5 in this series. And for me to just be like, it was fine, that's not enough to get me to read 4 more books. Really? Okay. I think I need to read 1 more and then just make up my mind. Do you know what I mean? Like, I need to read the second one, and if it was just as mediocre as the first one, that's it, done. But it's also like, do I waste my time reading the second one when I already didn't love the first one? I don't know. Okay, the first one was supposed to be this like kind of erotica novel, right? Which it was. It had sex in it. But it was very one-dimensional. The storyline was not really that exciting. I'm so underwhelmed just like calling back on it now. So like, I don't know. I think if I don't get to book 2, or if I get to book 2 and I'm still as underwhelmed as I am right now by the end of the year, then it's gotta go. Like, I gotta let it go. Okay, the next one is the Marrow Thieves by Cherie, Dimaline. Oh, you guys, I wanted to finish it so bad last year. I wanted to. It was on the list. I was gonna do it, and then life really just fell apart. It just really did. It really did. And I wanted to be able to read this book at a time when I could really appreciate it, and I didn't have to rush, and I didn't have to, like, you know what I mean? Pressure myself through it. Cherie Dimaline deserves my undivided attention for this book, okay? And I'm ready. This is the year. We're gonna finish it. This is the year. I'm gonna do it. Okay, the next one is the Dublin Murder Squad series by Tanya French. Okay, or Tana French? Don't know. So I read 1 book in this series. I think it's called The Secret Place. I didn't read it in order. And so there's a part of me that's like, oh, you've already read it out of order. Oh, don't finish it. But then there's another part of me that's like, well, I could just go back and start from the first. Like, I feel like it's one of those things that you could popcorn read and not really have an issue. I remember liking the Tana French book I read. I remember liking it. I remember liking the characters. I like the settings. I like the storyline. And so it's just a matter of literally picking it up. Because it's a lot of things I like. It's a serial killer thriller series, basically. Lots of things I like. Maybe I should just devote more time to... No, don't do that. I can't devote more time to thrillers. The whole year will go to thrillers if I do that. So, yeah, I think I just need to pick it up. Like, literally just need to pick it up. There's 6 in that series, by the way. 6, and I've read 1. So, not getting finished this year, but I think I could make progress on it. Okay, the Anita Blake series by Laurell K. Hamilton. Alright, let me just say, there's just no way I can finish it. Like, maybe ever. I'm at the point now where I'm like, just let it go. Okay, for a few reasons. I don't read vampire literature anymore. I really don't. But I remember reading starting this Laurell K. Hamilton series and just being completely absorbed. I loved the main character. I love Anita Blake. I think she's fantastic. There's so much about this series that I absolutely loved. And I got extremely burnt out reading this series. Okay? There's 30 books. Oh my god. There's 30 books in the series. Like, I read 40 books last year. So I could literally spend the entire year reading this series and a few other books. That's how many are in there. And the thing is, I think I read the first 4 or 5. I don't remember. Because it happened so long ago, I don't remember enough about them to pick up where I left off. So I literally have to start from the beginning. I would have to start all the way from the beginning so that I could remember. I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I could do it. It's just such an undertaking now. And it's like, maybe I just need to remember those books fondly and move on. Because I don't remember being emotionally devastated that I stopped reading them. But I did like them. I don't know. I think if I don't read any of them this year, it's time to let it go. Okay. The All Souls series by Deborah Harkness. I read A Discovery of Witches, and I was so disappointed in this book. I cannot even tell you how disappointed in this book I was. Like, I felt like the entire internet lied to me about this book. Because I read it. First of all, this book is huge, okay? Way bigger than what I typically like to read, okay? And the print on the page is tiny. It's little, okay? I remember reading this thing, and I would have to just take breaks because I just couldn't, okay? It took me forever to get through this book. And then I got all the way through it, and I was like, this is it. And my friend that recommended it to me, she was like, oh, but the second book is so much better. Girl, the first book should have been better. The first book should have been better. I should have been so overwhelmed with love from the first book that I had to read the second book. And I was so underwhelmed and pissed that I don't want to read the second book. They're like, oh, the second book is when it really gets good. I don't know. Can I dump a month into another book to see if I like it? There's 5 books in this series. What? I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. Like, I have literally had no desire to get back into this series. I've had no interest. Again, a lot of it is because I don't like vampire novels, and it's just really overplayed. And I thought the witchy element in the book was just not turned up enough for me to like it. And I don't know. There was just a lot of manipulative stuff in the book that was like, why are we still okay with reading crap like this? I'm just not excited at all about it. And I think that's a really good sign for me to just say I'm done. I think I'm done. Okay, the next is the Indian Lake Trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones. I read My Heart is a Chainsaw. I absolutely love that book. I had every intention to pick up book 2, Fear the Reaper. It was on 2 maybes lists in 23, sorry. It was on 2 maybes lists. Like, I had every intention of picking up the second Stephen Graham Jones book. And I just didn't. I just didn't have time. It's long. And I probably will do it on the audiobook because the first audiobook was done so incredibly well. I'll probably do it again on the audiobook. I just ran out of time. I really did. I have every intention of, if not finishing this series, making progress. There's only 3 books, so I really think I could at least make progress on it. Okay, this is a little bit of a spoiler. It's the Sunken City series by Emma V.R. Noyes. And the reason it's a spoiler is because I just read it this month. Like, I read it for January, so I haven't officially told you guys about it yet. It was on a maybe series though for January, and I did end up picking up and reading it. It has 3 books in it, so this is like brand new, brand spanking new. Like the first new series of 24. Here she is. I think I'll read the second book and see how I feel, because I liked the first book enough. Like, it had issues. We'll get into it, in another week or so, whenever the wrap up is. We'll get into what I really thought about it. I liked it enough to read the second book. Now, if the second book continues to have issues for me, I'll step away. But I was intrigued enough by book 1 to read book 2. So, will it get finished in 24? Ooh, I don't know. I could definitely make progress, though. Okay, so I remember talking about this series last year. It's the Elin Warner series by Sarah Pearse. Okay, the first one was a sanatorium. I talk about this book all the time. I do. I've talked about it a bunch of times on this channel. And I remember talking about it in the series section last year and being so excited about reading the second book. And I so vividly remember saying, but she wrote the second book in 2019, so there's a possibility that she's not finished. She's not, because I literally looked it up this morning to see how many books were on there. She's put out a release date for the third book. There's a release date out. It's going to come this summer, I think is what it said. So she's not done with this series yet. And that just like, it tears a hole in me to start series that aren't finished. Do you know what I mean? Because like, what if it, and we will talk about Emily Corey Barker at the end of, she's at the end of the list. But what if I'm Emily Corey Barker again? What if that happens to me again? And I'm left waiting years for a series to be finished. I don't think Sarah Pearse would do that to me. I think she knows that I would wait, right? I think she knows that. So, are we going to finish this series this year? Honestly, I don't know how much more books she's going to put into it, so I can't say yes, I'm going to finish it. The third book hasn't even been released. I definitely want to read book 2 because I absolutely love the sanatorium. I loved it. So yeah, I definitely see book 2 happening. Okay, the next one is Leighton You series by C.E. Ricci. I don't know. So I read this for my book club this last year, and this was like, so this is another new one. Welcome to the club. This was a gay hockey erotica romance. I really liked it, honestly. It was really fun. It was exciting. And it was kind of sexy. This has 5 books, though, in the series. And I think 3 of them are not even released yet. She's just released the titles. I don't know. I'm not super into sports romances, even if they're gay. Like, I'm just not into sports romances that much. So I don't know. Maybe I think I need to read book 2 and just see, but I really don't even see book 2 happening this year, honestly. It's not a priority right now. We'll see how I sit with it later in the year. Okay, Moon of the Crusted Snow series by Waubgeshig Rice. Y'all, he released a second book. Last year, in November of last year, he released a second book. And I've been wanting to read it. I'm literally the first person on hold for it at my library. They haven't even ordered it yet. They can't even get it yet for the library. I'm the first person on the list. So the second that book comes in, it's mine. And I'm going to read it the second it comes in. The problem. I know this isn't the last one. I know he's got another one coming. I just know, I can feel it deep inside of me that he's got a third one, right? So, will I be continuing this series? Happily. When will the series be over? Dunno. I guess we'll just wait for Waubgeshig Rice to call me and tell me when it's going to be done. Okay, Wicked Villain series by Katie Robert. I've been reading this for a little while. Unfortunately, I've only read 2 of the books. So there's 7 in this series, and then she released like a whole slew of short stories that kind of go in between the books. I think like the grand total is like 15 or something like that. I wanted to make progress on this last year, and I didn't. I didn't make any progress on this last year, and I don't know why, because it's such a fun series. If you don't know what it's about, it's basically Disney villains get the girl person and lots of sex. Very sexy villain gets the girl Disney edition, okay? It's great. I love it. They're easy to read. They're not complicated. And it just, the first one really blew me away. Desperate Measures. It really blew me away. That was Jasmine and Jafar, and I loved it. I think you just can't look too closely at these. You can't take them too seriously. Like, we all know why we're here, right? I definitely see progress. I really want to make progress with this series this year. Finish it? No. There's definitely too many on the list for me to finish, but I can make progress. Okay, guys, I know I've been talking for a long time. We're getting to the end, okay? Chronicles of the One series by Nora Roberts. There's only 1 book left. Why didn't I read it? Why didn't I just read it last year so I could have just crossed it off? I don't know. I can't tell you why I didn't make that decision. I just didn't make good decisions last year, I guess. I don't know. So, like this one and Beartown, one book. I'm one book away from finishing them. Why didn't I just do it? I don't know. We're finishing it this year. That is the goal. We're finishing this one this year. Okay, the next one is Bloodsucker's Blog by Ella Stone. I don't remember how many of these she's put out. Oh no, 3. She's put 3 out. I read the first one. It was really fun. This is a vampire book, but it's kind of like a comedy. Yeah, it's kind of like a comedy and a little bit of a mystery. I don't know, but I love Ella Stone. Ella Stone's my girl, okay? Love her to death. So, I definitely want to read the second one, just because I haven't read it yet. Finish this series this year? I don't know. Work on it? I'm gonna try. Okay. The Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros, aka Fourth Wing. I read this for my book club. I will not be continuing this series. Like, point blank, I'm not moving on. And that might shock you guys. I don't know. Apparently a lot of people love this book, but there has been like a very slow rolling collection of people that don't like it. I'm in the slow rolling collection of people that don't like it. I didn't like it. I'm not going to continue it. This is the first book on the list, and it's at the bottom. This is the first series on this list this year that I'm absolutely like not continuing. Not continuing. I have no interest to read Iron Flame. Is that what it's called? And she's not even finished the series, so not interested. Not interested. So yeah. Thanks, but no thanks. Okay, here we are again. She was at the very bottom of the list last year. She's at the very bottom of the list this year. It is the Thinking Woman's Guide series by Emily Croy Barker. Here's the thing. Here is the thing, y'all. I absolutely love this book. I loved this book to death. I remember so vividly picking it up at the library and reading it and just being head over heels in love. Okay? And she ended it on a cliffhanger. And I was like, okay, yeah, book 2. When is it coming? Like, I was so excited. Okay, let me tell you all, this book, the very first book, was published in 2013, okay? And I read it the year it came out, right? Ask me when the second book was published. 2021. That's when the second book was published. Oh my gosh, like... It's been so long now that I'm probably going to have to I have to reread book 1, which I loved book 1. I don't mind rereading that. I loved her, but I have to reread it so that I don't miss anything that's happening in book 2. And the reviews on book 2 are so mixed that it breaks my heart. There are so many that said it was a flop and that it did not do the first book justice. And there were so many people that were just so happy that she put out the second book that it was just glowing reviews. And then there's a little handful of people in the comment section that's like, are we going to have to wait 7 more years for a third book? Which makes me wonder if she ended it on a cliffhanger. If she ended it on a cliffhanger and it takes I will be an old woman in 7 years. Maybe I'll have more free time then. I don't know. Ugh. This is what I mean when I was talking earlier about getting Sarah Croy Barker into a book series. Because she took 7 years to write this second book, and a lot of people have said it's mediocre. 7 years. 7 years of my life I've been waiting. Wow. So, I don't know. I think I want to reread Thinking Woman's Guide. I want to reread it. So that's the goal this year, is to reread Thinking Woman's Guide. Book 2, I don't know. I just don't know if I can do both, because Thinking Woman's Guide is a really thick book, and I think the second one, I cannot remember what it's like, Talking to a Goddess or something like that, is also probably going to be really thick. So let's just make that the goal, rereading book 1. Okay, that's it. That's all of them. This was a long post. But you know what? The one last year was even longer because the list was longer. So I'm a little disappointed in myself that I couldn't cut more books from the list this year, but I cleaned so thoroughly last year that I felt like I was in a good place for 23, and then in 23 I added I added more books to this series. So, the hope for this year is to close out 2 series, okay? And like I said, I have 3 that I could just close out with 1 book. So I should probably just like do it, you know? We'll see. That's all my open series. And then we'll see next year if I still have my channel. We'll come back and see who's getting on the chopping block for 25. We'll see. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you hit all the buttons down below so you know when I'm posting. I post every week. Let me know in the comments if any of these are intriguing to you, if you finished any of these and you have opinions about them, or if you're excited about anything, starting new series this year. I'm really going to try and not pick up any more new series this year. I said that, but I literally picked up a new one in January. I can't control myself. I can't help it. If the book sounds good, I'm like, okay. But you know what? Last year, I was thinking about starting a series, and then I looked, and the series had 15 books in it, and I was like, don't get into it. Don't even think about it. Don't even commit yourself to a 15-book ride. Okay? You know, I knew I couldn't get through it. I wasn't even going to be able to get through half of them in like 3 years. I knew I wouldn't. So, it has to be trilogies. It has to be trilogies now, because like anything past that, I just know I can't commit. So we'll see how it goes this year. We will see how it goes. And hopefully I can just finish some. That's the hope. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.